Puffin the Magic Dragon. Smoking some weed. Rolling doobs, blunts, squares, whatever you call it. Weed. I've probably smoked 10% of my body weight in weed over the years. And this video is going to be about why it's so uniquely destructive, even more than alcohol. Now, maybe you smoke weed all the time. Maybe you smoke weed a little bit. Am I saying you should never smoke weed or it's going to ruin your life? Like if you smoke it twice a year? No. However, as we grow, as we evolve as men, we need to evaluate what is something really costing us? What are the consequences of what we're currently doing? I opened up a bottle. I paid $18 for actually no, my mom did. I bought a different bottle of almond butter from a company I used to love back in the day. Like it was actually my favorite company. And there is this much seed oil on top of it. And it is organic almond butter. The other ones say that it's seed oil. This one doesn't, which I think it's just lying, which is funny because it talks about honesty on the company. Why am I telling you about that? Because if you eat that, and especially if you're spending $18 or $20 on it, that has consequences. You might as well eat junky seed butter or junky almond butter. So what are the consequences of smoking weed? I talk to people, and weed's an interesting one because it's legal or legal enough, right? I'm in Wisconsin right now. I don't live here. I'm from here. But you can drive to Illinois and get it, and so it's close enough to being legal, right? It's not really that big of a deal anymore. Nowadays, what's dangerous about weed is I see people where it slowly steals their life. And there's these new justifications. It's organic or it's plant medicine. And it's like, okay, man, if you're at work and you go to your car 6 times to smoke weed, those are not 6 sacred ceremonies while you're working your job. You have a problem. And the tricky thing about weed is, think of it this way. If your life is a big jar of marbles, we all know stories where if this vulnerable jar of marbles, it's all these glass marbles in this big glass jar. We all know stories where this glass that's vulnerable, if that gets rattled enough with hard drugs or alcohol, it can shatter. And your life could be really fucked in a night. You've heard the guy that drove around drunk or someone who overdosed on something. We've all heard these stories. And that's why weed is so dangerous, because the rules of the marbles getting shattered in one crazy evening, it doesn't apply. It's one of the most dangerous things about smoking. Because you can be like, well, I only do it, just on the weekends. That was what I did for a while. So think of the same glass of marbles and imagine there's, there's 3,000 marbles in there, right? So if we cut it into threes, 1,000. What's tricky about weed is every night, because we can justify it's a night or it's a weekend or it's whatever, it's 4th of July, I don't know. It's just like taking one little marble out. So if you smoke weed and you 10 days in a row and you had 3,000 marbles, you look at that and go, nah, we're good. But what if you don't check in on the marbles? And the marbles are your brain, the marbles is your energy, the marbles is your connection to your purpose. The marbles is the fire, the life force on some level that keeps you going. And let's focus on connection to your purpose, really who you are as a man, the life you're going to build, the relationship you're going to create, the family you're going to create. If you smoke weed most days for 5 years, you can look at that thing of marbles and it's half gone. If you follow Dr. Daniel Amen's work at all, it's interesting because actual overall being hard on the brain, weed is worse than alcohol. I don't know about you, but I never would have guessed that. Because weed will lower the function of all brain centers, all centers of the brain, not just some. But weed's tricky because it doesn't have major consequences. I've smoked tons of weed, and it used to be, I'm just doing it this way. I'd go to the gym, and this is years ago, 2018, 2019. I'd go to the gym, I'd do the whole workout, but then I'd throw out the macros, and I'd have pizza and gummy bears when I smoke. And I was getting in shape, but it didn't look like it. My body weighed the same. The composition was changing, but then I ate this shit. And for me personally, I recognized I had a problem with it in 2020. I decided to do something about it in 2021. So you can do this strategy, and we've all tried this if you can relate to this. Or maybe, you know what, maybe just do it 6 times a month, and that's way better than it was, right? So I'd go month on, month off, month on, month off. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then not do it Monday until Friday night. And that'd work for a couple weeks, but then I'd back on, back off. And it's something to me that causes an enormous amount of consequences, but it doesn't cause immediate, enormous consequences. And that's why it's so dangerous. It lowers our drive, it messes with our testosterone, it messes with our hunger. I don't know why it is, but it tends to be this way. Weed and porn tend to oftentimes go together. I don't have a mathematical equation or some energetic theory or something like that. And also, some people are disciplined, most aren't. It will cause you to eat. So if you want to function as the strongest, healthiest version of yourself, as a man that's building a legacy, building a future, in a great relationship, we're going to create that soon, building a magnificent family. It is the ultimate, or one of the ultimate performance de-enhancing substances. And it's different. When I was in high school, I mean, weed was like, I remember when a kid got caught selling a lot of weed in high school, and I think they even brought in, no, they're bringing the feds. That was for something. Someone was counterfeiting money in high school. But this kid got in big trouble. Like, if you got caught with that much weed, you might as well got caught with that much cocaine. You know, how it was viewed. Now it's so casual. People can, smoke weed with their parents. Weed has enormous consequences, especially in your 30s, your 40s, and you have 5 stressful years, a few stressful years, a stressful decade. A lot of people, if they smoked occasionally, pre-2020, they started smoking more, and a lot of people have stayed at that dose. We can justify it. It's organic. A friend of mine that I used to be close with that I'm unfortunately not very close with anymore, and I don't know if that'll ever change. He'd say, well, the guy, it's plant medicine. The guy dances and sings songs to the weed. So it's cool, man. I'm just trying to have a good relationship with her. No. And if you have an issue with weed and you think you can introduce it, I know that I know one dude, literally one, that went from smoking regularly, quit for a while, and reintroduced it one day a month and never more. I've never seen anyone else do that. I've heard stories. I don't think they're common. But if you can do that, great. But weed can be like a jealous, bad girlfriend. And we can want to go, well, what if I could have some kind of healthy relationship? It's possible. I would vote well over 90, probably more like 95% plus. It's not going to work. It's going to have too many consequences, just like the seed oil we talked about in the almond butter earlier. Even if you justify that it's organic or whatever, or some dude sings songs to it in the grass and dances barefoot and lights sage, whatever. Weed's fucking up your life, bro. If you're smoking weed on a semi-regular basis, it's fucking up your life. And it's not here to shame you, but it's here to be a wake-up call that weed makes you weak as a man, especially as a man. And I wish someone would have grabbed me and I could have seen clearly, and also grabbed me when I'm not stoned back then, because then I would have paid the fuck attention maybe and said, bro, you're here for more. How are you going to let yourself be a prisoner of this stinking plant? This plant that's like a jealous puta, like a whore, that's just going to manipulate you and fuck up your life from finding your wife and creating something beautiful because this woman got in the way. It's going to seduce you like a stripper that's going to ruin your life. That's weed. Can you use it as a plant medicine? It's possible. Do I think almost anyone does? No. I think it's so rare when I hear people's stories. If you smoke weed 4 times a year, I know one person that comes to mind. I mean, maybe they don't do it that much and they use it in a ceremony. Sure. If you have 4 weed ceremonies a week, you probably have a dependency on marijuana. We know alcohol fucks up people's lives. We know prescription pills, which are super common in the States, whether you have a prescription or not, mess up people's lives. Weed is the silent killer, and it will steal your future. Because the good thing about alcohol, if you fall down the stairs because you're so drunk and crack your head open and have to go to the ER, there are immediate severe consequences, which means you can have to wake the fuck up. With weed, you watch too much Netflix. How much? You don't remember. Ask me how I know, because I did that shit a lot. Not judging you, not making fun of you. Well, maybe I'm making fun of you a little bit, but weed will steal your future. And in that way, it can be more dangerous than many substances out there. At least if you do the hard ones, immediate consequences, got to do something. So, something to think about next time you're thinking of smoking. I had guys reach out to me this week about how it's wrecking their lives. And as I mentioned earlier, whether it's porn or cheap sex, for whatever reason, those two tend to go together. That's another video for another day, but you can have unhealed or unintegrated sexual parts, which women are more aware of because they're judged differently with sex. As men, we can have many as well, but we're not. And those in weed, for whatever strange reason, can be an unfortunate couple. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon. Look forward to seeing you not smoking tonight. Ciao.